Good day, everyone. Welcome to the lecture number 5 of soil mechanics. For this lecture video, we will be discussing about the flow of water through soil. And as usual, let's start with a bit of introduction first. Soils are permeable due to the existence of interconnected voids through which water can flow from points of high energy to points of low energy. We know that yung mismong soil natin, so meron siyang mga empty spaces between the solid particles. Sa ating figure, sa itong mga ito yun. So since hindi naman completely nag-interlock with each other yung ating solid particles, since they are not uniform in shape and then magkakaiba rin yung size, so meron at merong empty spaces na naiiwan sa pagitan nila. So yung tawag natin doon yung ating mga voids. So mula doon sa voids na to, so dito nag-flow yung ating water. And one of the major physical parameters of a soil that controls the rate of seepage through it is hydraulic conductivity. When we say rate of seepage, so this is the amount of water that flows through the soil at a given duration. So kay hydraulic conductivity, ang notation na ginagamit natin sa kanya ay small k. And hydraulic conductivity is also known as coefficient of permeability. So parehas lang sila, no? Magkaiba lang ng pangalan, pero parehas na si K ang tinutukoy nila. And dito, kapag tumataas yung value ng K, basically tumataas din yung rate of seepage natin. So the higher the value of K, so mas maraming or mas malaki yung flow rate doon sa mismong soil natin. Mas malaki yung seepage rate niya. Next is the Bernoulli's equation. So ito is actually more on the fluid mechanics side, no? Pero gusto ko lang din daanan is to give you some details para dun sa isang formula kasi natin na very important dito kay permeability. From fluid mechanics, we know that according to Bernoulli's equation, the total head at a point in water under motion can be given by the sum of the pressure head, velocity head, and elevation head. So, itong equation natin dito, so ito yung ating total head na tinatawag, no? So, ito ay sum lang ng tatlong klase ng head. So, itong first term natin, yan yung ating pressure head. Basically, si pressure head, that's pressure at certain point divided by the unit weight of water. So, kay fluid mechanics or kay hydraulics, so P kasi yung ginagamit natin dito sa numerator. However, pagdating dito kay soil, so U. Pagdating kasi kay soil mechanics, pag sinabi natin U, so ito yung ating pore water pressure. And then the next term, so yan naman yung tinatawag nating velocity head. So meron siyang formula na V squared over 2G. V is the velocity of flow and the G is the acceleration due to gravity. It can be 9.81 meter per second squared or 32.2 feet per second squared naman. And then the last one is the elevation head. Pag sinabi natin elevation head, so basically height lang siya from a certain date. So tingin tayo dito sa ating figure, no? So meron tayong say nilagay na soil specimen sa isang cylinder, something like that, or sabihin natin pipe na lang. So ito mismo, kung nakikita yung tinuturo ng cursor. So think of it as the wall ng isang pipe, so something like that. So itong nandito sa loob, ito yung mismong soil specimen natin. So naglagay tayo dito ng piezometers. So at point A yan at point B. So si piezometers, so nilalagay siya dun sa isang point to determine the piezometric levels. So nangyari kasi kapag nagsuksok tayo dito ng parang standpipe, basically standpipe kasi si piezometer, so yung water from the layer ng ating soil specimen is aakyat. So kung mas mataas yung energy at point A, so mas mataas din yung elevation ng water sa loob ng piezometer. So dito no, sabi natin sa previous slide, the flow of water comes from the points of high energy papunta dun sa points of low energy. So dito sa ating figure, so ang flow natin from upper right papunta kay or upper left papunta kay lower right. So kaya ganoon din. So kung nasan yung mas mataas na energy, nandun yung mas mataas din na piezometric level. Kung nasan yung mas mababang energy, so nandun din yung mas mababang elevation ng water dun sa loob ng ating piezometers. So at point A, meron siyang elevation head na C sub A and meron siyang pressure head na U sub A over gamma ng water. So as you can see, no? So tinanggal ko na or hindi ko na sinama si V squared over 2G or yung ating velocity head. So, ang consideration kasi natin bakit hindi na sinasama, so di ba pag sinabi kasi nating flow rate, when we say flow rate, flow, or discharge, so yan is yung natin dito kay Sol. Ang formula niya, that's A times V. So A is the area of flow and V is the velocity of flow. So when we take Q to be constant, so papansinin natin, since constant si Q, if ever na sobrang laki ng value ng area natin, so kailangan mag-adjust ni velocity para mapanatiling constant si Q. Ang consideration kasi natin, since soil ito, hindi naman natin alam gaano kalawak yung mismong soil natin. Kapag soil kasi yung pinag-usapan, let's say soil layer, eh, possible umabot yung length niya ng 1 kilometer, tapos yung width niya, possible 1 kilometer or more than. So, sobrang laki ng value ng area kasi dito. And then, syempre, kung sobrang laki na ng A dito, so para mapanatiling constant to, so pababa naman yung value ng V natin. And at great values, so at big values ng ating A, so approaches to 0 naman yung value ng velocity. Basically, etong numerator natin dito, so parang 0 squared divided by 2g. So 0 na lang din yung naging value ng velocity head natin. So kaya hindi na natin siya sinasama. So kaya nilagay ko na lang muna sa figure, so elevation head plus pressure head at point A and point B. However, no, so possible din kasi na wala si pressure head. So, mas maraming actually instances na elevation head lang talaga yung meron. Pero dito, so pinakita lang natin, if ever na meron din si pressure head. Ito yung sinasabi ko, since sobrang liit, basahin mo natin, if Bernoulli's equation is applied to the flow of water through a porous soil medium, the term containing the velocity head can be neglected because the seepage velocity is small and the total head at any point can be adequately represented by this formula. So, nawala na yung velocity head natin. So, papansinin nyo dito, no? So, meron tayong piezometric level delta H. So, I think nasa next slide yun. So, yung sa figure natin doon, so the relationship among pressure, elevation, and total heads for the flow of water through soil. Open standpipes, so called piezometers, are installed at point A and B. The level to which water rises in the piezometer tubes situated at points A and B are known as piezometric levels. The pressure head at point A is the height of the vertical column of water in the piezometer installed at that point. So dito no, yung delta H, dun sa figure natin, so ito siya. So yung delta H dyan, so the difference in piezometric levels can be expressed using this. So nawala na si velocity head, so meron na lang, so ito para kay A, ito para kay B. So pressure head at point A plus elevation head ni A minus pressure head ni B plus elevation head ni B. So, pero sinasabi ko nga din, possible din na even etong pressure head na to is mawala. So, when that happens, so, ZA minus CB na lang. Actually, ito yung mas maraming cases natin. No? So, pero pinakita ko lang din so paano kunin si delta H. Si delta H kasi, so dito natin siya actually kailangan, no? So, the head loss H can be represented in a non-dimensional form. So, meron tayong formula dito for hydraulic gradient. So, hydraulic gradient is equal to the delta H over D. L. So when we say hydraulic gradient, it refers actually to the slope lang. So kaya hydraulics kasi, si hydraulic gradient is the slope of the energy grade line. So isipin nyo lang natin, so etong si I is para lang din siyang yung M, mapakaliculus man or analytic geometry. Ito ay equal lang kay rise over run, di ba? Run, hindi ramp, sorry. Run. So when we say rise, so change in the vertical location or vertical position, and then L, change in the horizontal position. So delta H, nire-refer natin siya as the difference ng piezometric levels natin. So kung meron man tayong piezometries. However, kung wala naman tayong piezometers, let's say, sa mga cases ng dams, so pwede nating isipin na si H is the difference in elevation ng water upstream dun sa water downstream. So, if ever, no, walang piezometer, so pwede tingnan nyo na lang. So, water surface na mas mataas, sa water surface na mas mababa, so the change of elevation, basically yun din yung tinutukoy natin as H. Or possible din, kung nasan yung point of inflow minus the location naman or elevation naman ng point of outflow, so possible din yun yung indication natin for delta H. Pero ang hindi nagbabago, no, itong L natin. So, L is the length of flow or the length of specimen din minsan. So, dito sa ating figures, so, kumbaga ang travel natin, di ba? Downward to the right. So, let's say from point A to point B yung travel. So, kung gaano kalayo yung travel ni water habang nagfo-flow siya dun sa ating specimen, so yun yung tinutukoy natin kay L, no? So, take note, dito sa figure natin kasi naka-incline. So, dapat yung ating pag-measure ng L is dapat always parallel dun sa direction of flow. So, eto naka-incline yung flow. So, dapat naka-incline din yung pagsukat mo ng L. If naka-horizontal to, so naka-horizontal din dapat yung pagsukat ng L. Kung papansin nyo dito, no, meron tayong datum. So, kung saan kinuha or saan alin yung naging reference natin sa pagsusukat ng elevation head. When we say datum, it is only a reference point na sinet natin. So, pwede kayong sa taas or sa baba mag-set. So, basta ang importante, no? So, dapat lahat ng elevation natin is taken from the same reference line. So, yun lang importante nung datum, no? So, dapat parehas yung pinagmulan para, syempre, pwede nating may refer yung position ng one point with respect to the another point. Next is the Darcy's law. The Darcy's law govern the flow of water through soils. So, in 1856, Darcy proposed that the average flow velocity through soils is proportional to the gradient of the total head. So, ito yung pinaka-formula nyo. Basic galing dun sa Darcy's law natin. So, sabi ni Darcy, so si V daw, the discharge velocity or average velocity is directly proportional lang dun sa hydraulic gradient. So, kung kay Matt, si K kasi tinatawag natin siyang constant of proportionality. Pero dito si K, so ito rin mismo yung ating hydraulic conductivity or coefficient of permeability. So, sabi lang dito kay Darcy, no? So, habang tumataas yung value ng V, habang tumataas yung value ng I, so tumataas din yung value ng average velocity natin. And then, eto, no, yung magkakaibang pangalan ng V na yan. So, small v. So, it can be called as discharge velocity, average velocity, or minsan din tinatawag siyang superficial velocity. And when we say discharge velocity, no, so actually parehas lang din siya. So, yung V na yan is yung V din dun sa formula na Q is equal to AV. So, mula dito, no, pwede mo extract, sabihin natin si V equal lang din kay discharge or the flow rate divided by the area of flow. So, parehas lang yung V na tinutukoy dito, no? So, eto rin si average discharge or superficial velocity. Now, next tayo. So, seepage, interstitial, true or actual velocity. So, it is another form naman of velocity. So, yung V daw, kanina, yung V is equals to Ki is the discharge velocity of water based on the cross-sectional area of the soil. However, the actual velocity of water, that is the seepage velocity, through the void spaces is greater than V. The relationship between the discharge velocity and the seepage velocity can be derived by referring to the figure. So, dun sa formula kasi na V is equals to K, ay ang consideration natin dun, yung area is the total area of soil specimen. So, parang ganito siya at ang tinuturo ng aking cursor. So, mula dito, so kinuha natin yung Q is equal to AV. So, yung area na yan, siguro i-refer na lang natin as area total. So, ilagay ko dito area total. So, area total, ito yun yung tinutukoy natin. So, multiply na lang natin ng velocity of flow. So, nakuha na natin si discharge. However, in actual, no, alam naman natin na merong void spaces. And then from the first slide, sabi natin, si water nagfo-flow lang doon sa mismong interconnected voids. So, hindi naman pwede makapag-flow si water, no, through the solids Kasi parang si solid particles, mga obstruction siya dun sa mismong flow of water natin. So in actual, nagko-flow lang talaga si water dun sa mga empty spaces. So ang consideration natin dito, let's say, yung area of void, so denote na lang natin siguro as A sub V, and then area of solid particles, A sub S. So if we take this charge to be constant, so sabi natin using the average velocity, so ang ginamit is the total velocity times the discharge velocity. However, when we use the actual velocity niya or yung ating seepage velocity, so ang area na gagamitin natin is the area of voids lang. So saka natin siya i-multiply ng seepage velocity. So ang seepage velocity yung notation natin na that's V sub S. So ito yung formula niya. Pero pakita natin na bakit naging ganyan. So mula dito sa equation na to, so try natin mag-insert. Try natin pagkasya na dito no, para hindi na pala mag-insert. So i-rearrange lang natin to no. So from here, so extract natin si V sub S. Si V sub S can be represented as area total over area voids times the discharge velocity. So ang gagawin ko dito, i-multiply ko to ng length over length. So, di ba kasi pagdating kay geometry, kasi volume can be represented as the cross-sectional area times length or minsan times height naman. So, basically, nag-multiply tayo ng L over L. So, wala namang pagbabago, no? Kasi L over L, parang 1 lang yung minultiply natin. Pero ang mangyari kasi, once minultiply natin si L dyan sa area natin, so magiging volume total yan divided by volume of voids times the discharge velocity. And then eto, so pwede natin yang i-rearrange. So dito ko na lang isulat sa baba, no? So pag ni-rearrange natin, say V sub S can be written as so V divided by volume of void over volume total. So pinagbaliktad ko lang tapos dinivide ko sa V. So parehas lang eto, no? So eto ay parehas lang dito. So inayos ko lang ng pagkakasulat. So ginawa kong in this form siya kasi etong part na to, pwede natin siyang i-represent using a parameter ni soil. Pagdating kay soil properties, so ano ba yung equivalent ng volume of void divided by the volume of total? So kay soil properties, 'di ba? Yan yung ating N or the porosity. So basically, dito siya yung formula natin. So that's discharge velocity divided by porosity. Or pwede rin, so si V is equal to Ki, divide natin ng porosity para maging seepage velocity. And siguro isa sa mga importante no, na kailangan tandaan, so si porosity can be represented as the void ratio divided by 1 plus void ratio. Possible din kasi ang ibigay sa soil is the void ratio niya, hindi yung mismong rectang porosity. So, you need to recall din, no, yung mga soil properties natin. Next one, so the hydraulic conductivity of soil depends on several factors. So, fluid viscosity, pore size distribution, grain size distribution, void ratio, roughness of mineral materials, mineral particles, and degree of soil saturation. The hydraulic conductivity of unsaturated soil is lower and increases rapidly with the degree of saturation. So, napindot. So, dito meron tayong typical values no, of hydraulic conductivity of saturated soils. So, siguro no need to memorize this, no? Siguro try to familiarize it. So, clean gravel, coarse sand, fine sand, silty clay, and clay. So, yan yung mga value ng K nila. By the way, no, unit natin for the hydraulic conductivity, so unit of length per unit of time. So, parang cm per second, so feet per minute. So, I suggest, no, so try to practice conversion then. So, possible din kasi na magkakaiba. So, hindi naman laging cm per second, feet per minute. Possible maging, kilometer per day, mga ganun. Inches per minute, miles per hour, mga ganun. So, try to practice conversion din, no. So, basta, ito yung pinaka normal or common na unit natin for the hydraulic conductivity. So, cm per second or meter per second and feet per minute. So next, hydraulic conductivity of a soil is also related to the properties of the fluid flowing through it by the equation. So K is equal to gamma water over the viscosity of water times the absolute permeability. So eto nga actually, no? Pagdating kasi kay J, maraming mga studies, mga research ang ginawa ng iba't ibang authors. So isa ito dun sa mga napatunayan nila using some tests na pinandak nila. So si K pala pwedeng i-represent using this equation. So try to familiarize lang din, no? So K absolute. So actually mas madalas tinatanong dito si K absolute, no? Kasi normal lang naman si K. So possible ito, no, sa mga question. So what is the absolute permeability? Absolute hydraulic conductivity. Ito yung formula na pwede nating magamit. And yung ating E, o hindi pala siya N, no? So ang tawag natin dito is the eta, the viscosity of water. So minsan kasi sa viscosity, we use the nu. So yung parang Greek letter nu. So para siyang ganyan. Para siyang V na medyo maarte yung pagkakasulat. Something like that. Pero when we say viscosity, no? So it is the resistance of fluid to flow. So fluid yung ginamit ko kasi hindi lang naman applicable para kay water si viscosity, no? So isipin nyo na lang. So pagkumpara nyo si water and honey. So kapag tinapon mo si water, so di ba continuous laman yung flow niya. Wala masyadong resistance. However, kapag yung honey yung trinay mong ibuhos, medyo malapot kasi. So nandun yung resistance to flow. So mas mahirap siyang matapon. Something like that. So basically, kung mas malapot din yung fluid, mas mataas din yung kanyang viscosity. So yun yung ating eta dito. No? And then another, so using or from other studies, so yung tool natin at 20 degrees Celsius, equal lang din dito. So it is conventional to express the value of K at temperature of 20 degrees Celsius within the range of test temperatures. So we can assume that gamma water at T1 is approximately equal to gamma water at T2, therefore. So ito yung ating equation. So dito, no, yung nasa loob ng parentheses, actually merong values siya for temperatures ranging from 15 to 30. Kuha na lang kayo ng values dito sa table na to. So lagay nyo sa loob ng parentheses. So pwede na ma-approximate yung K at 20 degrees Celsius or pwede nyo ring mahanap yung K at certain temperature degrees Celsius. So next natin, so constant head permeability test. So a typical arrangement of the constant head permeability test is shown in the figure. In this laboratory setup, the water supply at the inlet is adjusted in such a way that the difference of head between the inlet and the outlet remains constant during the test period. After a constant flow rate is established, water is collected in a graduated flask for unknown duration. So dito, no? So just to summarize this, so meron tayong laboratory setup. So basically, meron tayong ganyan. So sa specimen, nilalagay natin siya sa isang cylindrical container and it is bounded between two porous stones. So syempre, para ma-maintain natin yung L na length ng ating soil specimen. And then, meron tayong constant inflow dito. So, yung inflow na dyan is controlled in order to make this H constant all throughout the test duration. So, mangyari, so, syempre merong tubig dito sa taas. So, magpo-primate yan ngayon dun sa ating soil specimen. Tapos, pupunta dito sa ating tank na meron ng laman initially. So, syempre, kung gaano karami yung water na magpo-permeate at pupunta dun sa tank, so, yun naman yung mag-overflow papunta dito sa ating graduated flask. And then, kung gaano karami yung na-collect dyan. So, basically, mini-measure natin and then yung duration na din. So, dito, no? So, the total volume of water collected may be expressed as. So, eto is basically Q is equals to AV lang din. And pagdating kasi kay discharge, so when we say discharge flow or flow rate, so eto can also be represented as the volume collected at certain duration divided by the duration time. So, ang common naman kasi na unit ng ating discharge ay say, cubic meter per second. So, something like that. So, kung gusto natin makuha gaano karami yung volume collected here sa ating graduated flask, so that's the discharge times time. For example, meron tayong say 10 cubic meter per second. So, eto is kung gaano karami yung pumapasok per second. So, let's say tinatanong, so gaano karami yung naipon after 5 seconds. So, syempre, mag-multiply tayo dito ng time na 5 seconds. Parang ganun. So, eto siya. V is equals to A times V times T. And then, si V can be represented as A times I. And then, we know that I, di ba, is equal to H over L. So, delta H over L. Pero dito kasi ang ginamit natin na notation for the difference in head is H lang. So, ganito yung sinasabi ko, hindi lagi naman na meron si pressure head, no? So, dito, titingnan natin. So, elevation ng mas mataas na water surface dun sa elevation ng mas mababang water surface. So, yung difference in elevation nila, so yun yung H dun sa ating hydraulic fluid. So, from here, so pwede nating sabihin na si Q ay equal to A times K times H over L times T. So, eto kasi minsan din, ginagamit para ma-approximate yung value ng ating K. So, pwede natin extract si K dito. Kapag in-extract natin, that's K is equal to Q. So, cross-multiply natin yung nasa denominator. Divided by, so isin ko na lang T, A, H. So, eto is yung formula natin pagdating sa pag-approximate ng hydraulic conductivity by constant head permeability test. And then eto actually meron siyang isang version na medyo mas sikat. So, sabi natin, di ba, Q divided by T. So, pwede natin yung isulat as volume collected times L over P A times H. So, eto yun, no? Actually, ang mnemonic kasi dito is the volta. So, medyo mas mabilis siya. Patandaan, no? So, K is equal to volta. So, medyo maraming parameters actually, ay, mnemonics actually dito, no? So, si Vicky, si Kia. So, Q is equals to Kia, no? Q is equal to Kia. So, etong A, tapos etong si KI is the V. So, parang ino na lang siya, no? Para magkaroon tayo ng mnemonics. So, pwede rin AKI. So, kayong bahala kung ano mas preferred nyo, no? Pero eto yung usual, no? Na ginagamit natin for K. So, that's for the constant head permeability test. So, eto yung formula. So, nandito pala, no? So, that's QL over TAH. Or pwede rin volume collected per time. Next is the falling head permeability test. So, dito naman, so ang setup natin, no? Wait lang napindot. Bakit yun bumabalik? So, ang setup, so merong tayong nilagay dito na standpipe. So, ganun pa rin. So, sa specimen is bonded between two porous stone to hold the L in place. So, para constant, hindi napapalitan yung L natin. So, ang mangyayari, wala ditong constant supply of water. So, kung ano yung water na laman ng ating standpipe, so yun na siya as in. And after some time, so initially, ito yung level ng water natin, no, sa loob ng ating standpipe. So after some time, so syempre yung water na yun magpe-permeate through the soil specimen. So mababawasan yung laman ng standpipe. So pupunta siya dito sa baba. Kung nabawasan yung laman ng standpipe, so syempre magdi-decrease yung kanyang head. So yun naman yung magiging H2 dito. And then, so the rate of flow of water through the specimen at any time t can be given by, so Q is equal to, so ito pa rin yung Kia natin. So K, ito si I, ito si A. And equal lang yan doon sa A times dH over dt. Explain natin bakit ganito. So, di ba pagdating kay velocity or volume, sorry. So, that's the area times H. So, yung small a kasi dito, ito yung area ng standpipe natin. So, yung area nito. So, by the way, no, tensile specimen, syempre diameter usually yung binibigay. So, area ng circle. Ganun din kay standpipe. So, diameter ng standpipe, so area ng circle. So, etong discharge daw, so hindi na kasi tayo nagko-compute hindi na tayo naglalagay dito ng graduated flash to measure the volume collected or volume na nag-overflow dito. So, ginagawa, so sinusukot na lang gaano karami yung nawalang volume sa ating standpipe. So, ito actually yun. So, negative A times dA, so the change in height per change in time. So, parang ito si area times H, so naging velocity or volume, sorry. So, negative lang siya dito kasi nga decrease in the volume. Kaya naglagay tayo ng negative. And actually, using this, pwede nating i-derive yung ating equation para kay Q or K din para kay falling head permeability test. So, ang pwede natin gawin, ayusin lang natin ito siguro, no? So, KHL A, tapos, so, siguro ang gawin ko na lang, so, extract ko, ilabas ko si DT. Parang nagba-variable si parable lang. And then, matitira, so, sa kabila, merong small a, L, so negative pa rin, over K, A, H, tapos, meron tayong DH. So, para mas okay siguro, no? So, si H, ilagay ko na lang siya sa ilalim ni DH. So, dito, since meron tayong dt, so basically, mag-integral tayo. So, integral ng left side, integral ng right side. So, kapag in-integrate natin itong mga to, integral ng dt, so magiging t na lang siya. And then, eto, so, pinaka-operator natin, di ba, is si dh. So, h. So, basically, yung variable lang natin is si h. And then, itong si small a, l, k, and a ay mga constant. So, pwede nating ilabas, no? So, negative a, l, ka, integral na lang ng dh over h. So, kapag nag-integrate tayo, so ano bang integral ng dh over h? So, yan ay equal lang. So, parahin ko lang ito, no? So, di ba kay calculus, kapag meron tayong ddx ng ln x, so ito ay equal kay 1 over x. Basically, integral ng dh over h is equal lang kay, ayusin ko na lang, negative a l ka. So, integral niyan ay ln h. However, dito, no, since meron tayong change in height, so pwede tayong maglagay ng upper and lower limit. So, initially, we have h1 to h2. So, etong negative al over ka, so malaking a dapat ito, ln h. So, eto is evaluated pa from h2 to h1. So, parang naging definite integral na. So, medyo lang, dumi lang yung pagkakasulat since medyo maliit yung space. So, siguro dito ko na lang ituloy no, sa taas. So, yung t natin, so using lang natin. So, evaluate this, substitute na natin yung h2 and h1. So, t is equal to negative al over ka multiplied by ln h2 minus ln h1. And then, since meron tayong negative dito, actually, i-apply na lang natin ito dun sa loob ng parentheses para, so, pag dinistribute natin to, no? So, magiging negative itong first term, magiging positive to. So, basically, yung t natin is also equal to al ka ln, so, pagpalitin ko na, h1 minus ln h2. So, ito kasi naging negative, tapos ito naging positive kasi dinistribute natin yung minus or negative sign dito. So, eto na. Pwede natin ito gamitin. Pero, etong nasa loob ng parenthesis na pwede pa natin i-simplify using the quotient rule naman ni logarithm. So, ito kasing si ln h1 minus ln H2 can be expressed as ln H1 over H2. So, pwede nating sabihin, so actually, eto siya, no? So, kapag eto is ginawa nating ln H1 over H2, so ito yung ating formula. So, pinagpalit ko na lang din si time tapos si K, no? So, pwede kasing pagpalitin din naman yan. So, kapag K yung hinahanap. So, ito yung sinasabi kong ano. So, itong part na yan, equal lang yan dun sa ating ln H1 minus ln H2. So, in-applyan lang natin ng law of quotient rule pagdating kay logarithms. So, that's it for the falling head permeability test. And then, meron pa tayong ano, supplemental, so other formulas pagdating kay hydraulic conductivity. So, ito naman is for fairly uniform sand. So, si Hazen, 1930, proposed an empirical relationship for hydraulic conductivity in the form. So, ito no, kapag fairly uniform sand daw, so yung uniformity coefficient or yung CU niya ay very small. So, pwede natin gamitin ito. So, K is equal to the C times D10 squared. So, D10, ito yung ating effective grain size. Ito yung kinukuha natin, no? Sa ating particle size distribution. And then C is a constant that varies from 1 to 1.5. Another is for sandy soil. So, ito naman is according to Kozeny-Karman equation. So, K in cm per second. So, ito yung kanyang formula, no? So, medyo marami yung parameters natin. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, sobrang dami ng nag-conduct ng test. So, mali natin, no? Baka isa rin kayo sa makagawa ng another equation for hydraulic conductivity. So, mali lang natin. So, ito yung galing kay Kozeny-Karman. 1 over CS, SS squared, T squared, gamma water over eta, so viscosity. Nandito naman yung ibig sabihin ng mga parameters na yun. No? So, another one. So, ito naman galing kay Amer and Awad, 1974. So, para pa rin kay granular soil. So, pwede natin itong gamitin. So, take note, no? Si K is in cm per second. And then si D10 dapat naka-mm. Then another one. So, according naman kay Taylor, 1948. So, ito medyo mga recent na, no? So, log K is equal to log K sub O minus E sub O minus C over C sub K. So, nandito yung ibig sabihin ng bawat parameters na nandyan. And then, another one. So, sa Marasing et al. 1982. So, ito is para naman kay ano. So, it is conducted on newly scarred clay for normally consolidated clays. So, K is equals to C times E raised to N over 1 plus C, wherein C and N are constant to be determined experimentally. So, actually, ito ginagamit kapag merong ano, say, merong dalawang value ng K, dalawang value ng E. So, pwedeng mahanap si N and C respectively. So, yan. Jadi marami pang ibang equation no, para kay hydraulic conductivity. Although marami yan, siguro ang pinaka-importante na lang is yung kay ano, falling head tapos kay constant head. So, kay lumutan nyo na lahat, wag lang yung dalawang yan. So, yun kasi yung pinaka-common talaga dito. So, next natin sa directional variation of permeability. Most soils are isotropic with respect to permeability. Are not isotropic, sorry. When we say isotropic kasi, so it is actually an ideal scenario, no? When we say isotropic, so lahat daw ng properties ng soil particles natin are equal in all direction. So parang ano, kung ito-drawing natin, so pag sinabi natin isotropic, assume nyo na lang pare-parehas yung size ng bilog na nandito, no? Parang ganyan ang itsura ng isotropic. Pag sinabi naman nating anisotropic, ito yung medyo ano, actual yung itsura niya. The irregular shape, tapos magkakaiba yung sizes ng solid particles. So, ganyan yung isotropic. So, hindi naman pare-parehas yung properties ng particles natin in every direction. So in a given soil deposit, the magnitude of K changes with respect to the direction of flow. To let the hydraulic conductivity in vertical, so alpha is equal to 0. So actually dito, no? So ito is more of introduction lang para dito naman sa next slide natin. So the equivalent hydraulic conductivity of stratified soil. Pag sinabi nating stratified soil, so dito meron tayong multiple layers of soil. So unlike na sa mga laboratory tests such as the constant head and falling head test, so isa lang kasi yung soil specimen natin doon. Basically, isa lang yung value ng K. So pwede tayong rumekta Q is equal to Kia. However, kapag ganito yung case ng multiple layers, so siyempre kada layer magkakaiba yung hydraulic conductivity. Parang dito meron tayong K1, K2, and K3. And then having different thickness din ng layer H1, H2, and H3. So the equivalent hydraulic conductivity for parallel flow is so, so K equivalent is equal to summation ng H and Kn over H. Let's say gamitin natin yun nandiyan sa figure natin. So ito pwede nating express H1, K1, H2, K2 plus H3, K3 over the total H. So si H na malaki, yan yung summation ng tatlong thickness ng layer natin. So when we say parallel, no? So dito kasi, so minsan naka-incline si soil, hindi naman lagi naka-horizontal yun, no? Pag sinabi nating parallel flow, so isipin nyo na lang, so, tingnan nyo itong boundary ng bawat layers natin. So yung pinaka-interface nila. So kung parallel yung flow doon sa interface na yon, basically, parallel flow yung consideration natin or tinatawag din siyang horizontal, no? So yun siya yung nandito. So horizontal direction. So yun yung KH. And then KV naman kapag vertical, so yun naman yung normal flow, no, or perpendicular flow. So ito yung ating equivalent for parallel flow. And then ito naman para kay perpendicular flow. Pag perpendicular naman, basically, yung direction of flow is perpendicular dun sa interface ng bawat layer natin. So ito naman siya. So, kung express natin siya, no, yan ay H divided by H1 over K1 plus H2 over K2 plus H3 over K3. However, hindi lang hanggang 3 layers ang possible. No? So, possible mas maraming layers of soil pa. So, yun yung ating equivalent hydraulic conductivity. And ano no? So, dito lang siguro tandaan. So, pagdating kasi kay area of flow, so hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, eto na lang, pagdating kay K equivalent, so ito is applicable lang para kay equal area, no? So, for example, dun sa ating Q is equal to Kia. So, hindi kasi tayo pwedeng rumektang Q is equals to Kia kapag multiple layers. So, ang ginagawa natin, so hinahanap natin yung equivalent hydraulic conductivity. So, meron kasi mga instances wherein so, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na yung discharge sa isang layer ay parehas sa isang discharge sa kabilang layer kapag hindi sila parehas ng area. So, pwede ka lang din mag-equivalent na itong formula na to kapag yung area is parehas for both layers. For example, kung may mga instances kasi, say parang ano, ito yung itsura. Let's say, cylindrical pa rin yung ating sample, no? Ito yung top view niya. So, etong gitna, so meron tong, say, palit ako ng kulay. So, etong gitna, let's say meron niyang K1, tapos etong labas, meron niyang K2. So, dito naman, hindi ka pwedeng ano, equivalent hydraulic conductivity. So, minsan na ginagawa kapag ganito yung case, no? So, yung total discharge is equal lang, let's say, Q1 plus Q2. So, hindi mo pwede itong express as K equivalent kapag ganito yung case, no? So, ang ginagawa, so, Q1 plus Q2 para kay Q total. If ever na yung flow of water natin is pag ganito. And then, Next part, so flow nets. So two-dimensional flow of water through soils, flow net. Seepage losses through the ground or through the earth dams or levees are and the related flow pattern and rate of energy loss or dissipation of hydrostatic head are frequently estimated by means of a graphical technique known as flow net. Actually, maraming binanggit dito, no? So, siguro, dito na tayo mag-focus kayo, no? Sa dissipation of hydrostatic head, ano pa ba yung common dito? The rate of energy loss. So, dito kasi, let's say meron tayong naipon na tubig sa isang side ng isang sheet pile. So, parang itong pinaka-sheet pile natin, so pinipigilan niya syempre, or ni-store niya yung water dito sa ating left side. So, since yung baba nito, so hindi naman line yung baba, so soil lang ito mismo. So, possible, yung itong naipon na water na yan, so possible mag-permeate. So, mula dyan, mag-travel yung water papunta dito sa kabila. So, kung bumaba itong, let's say, height ng water, so basically, liliit din yung hydrostatic force that is applied doon sa mismong sheet pile natin. So, something like that. So, itong mga iba't ibang sinabi dito is frequently estimated by means of graphical technique known as flow net. So, flow net siya kasi mukha siyang net dito, no? However, so flow net is a graphical representation of a flow field that satisfies Laplace equation and comprises a family of flow lines and equipotential lines. So, yung kulay red dyan, yan yung ating, or kulay blue, yan yung ating flow line, and then yung kulay red is the equipotential lines. So, when we say flow line, so yan yung mismong path followed by the particle of water as it moves through the saturated soil mass. So, ito yung saturated soil mass natin, no? So, etong mga blue na line na yan, so isipin nyo na lang, yan yung sinusundan na path ng mga water particles kung magta-travel sila papunta dun sa kabila. And then yung mga red na hidden line dyan, so yan naman yung equipotential lines natin. So those are lines connecting points of equal potential energy. So equal potential energy, syempre kapag nasa isang line sila. For example, nandito. So itong point na to, palta akong kulay. So itong point na yan, itong point na to, yung point na yan. So yung tatlong point na yan, magkakaparehas yung value ng potential energy. So kumbaga yung line na nagko-connect sa mga points na yon, so yun yung equipotential lines natin. And then, so meron tayong iba't ibang rules or criteria para kay FlowNet, no? So siguro ang pinaka-importante dito, so itong pangalawa na lang muna. So flow lines must intersect equipotential lines at right angles. So dapat perpendicular sila, no? So dito kasi since curvilinear yung ating mga lines, so hindi masyado mapakita na right angle sila. So dapat itong mga intersection na yan, so lahat yan dapat at right angles. And then, so the quantity of flow through each flow channel is constant. And then, siguro ito flow line cannot intersect another flow line. And then, ganun din kay equipotential line. So, kasi naman dito, no? So, walang nag-intersect ng mga blue line, tapos wala rin nag-intersect ng mga red line. So, importante yun kasi para kay flow nets. So, dito, no, hindi naman natin siguro tayo mag-construct mismo ng flow net. So, basically, si flow net is, kumbaga, gagawin na natin, magbibilang na lang tayo ng flow channels and the pressure drops. So, ito yung pinaka-formula natin, no? So, the flow of water through isotropic soil is eto Q. So, when we say Q, that's is a discharge, no? So, pagdating kay discharge, di ba sabi natin, discharge din si malaking Q. So, dito rin actually discharge si maliit na Q. So, ang pinagkaiba lang nila, so si small Q kasi minsan tinatawag din siyang linear discharge. So, ito is taken, kumbaga ito si discharge per linear width. So, something like that. Kaya per 1 meter width. Kaya small Q yung kinagamit, no? Basically, yun lang pinagkaiba nila, pero parehas pa rin silang discharge. So, pagdating kay isotropic soil, so ito yung ideal, no? So, yung tinanawin natin kanina na lahat ng properties ng soil natin is equal in all direction. So, ito yung gagamitin. So, isa lang yung value ng kanyang K. So, KH NF over ND. Then, K, hydraulic conductivity. So, H is the head. So, doon sa ating figure, no? Ito yung tinutukoy natin as head. Saan yan? So, elevation from the upstream, tapos elevation sa downstream. So, di ba kapag nag-flow kasi yung water dito, so possible magkaroon din ng water dito sa side na to. So, basically, yun yung difference in head. And then NF is the number of flow channel. So, when I say flow channels, so titingnan natin yung figure natin, no? So, flow channels kasi, ito yung space between two flow lines. So, itong dalawang flow line na to, so yung space between them, so yan yung tinatawag nating flow channel. So, si flow channel, pwede natin siya mabilang as the number of flow lines daw minus 1. So, dito, ilan ba yung ating flow channels? So, dito ang ating NF. So, siguro, sample na natin, no? So, ang NF natin dito, ano ba? So, ito ay 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, ang NF natin, number of flow channels, ay 5. So, sabi dun sa definition, si NF ay equal lang din kay flow lines, number of flow lines minus 1. Kung hanapin natin, so nasasan ba dito yung ating mga flow lines? So, yung flow lines naman natin dyan, ano ba pwede natin gamitin kulay? Siguro ito na lang, no? Light blue. So, yung flow lines natin, so nakikita lang kasi 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yung apat na blue lines dyan. Pero sabi natin, di ba, C number or si NF, so that's number of flow lines minus 1. So, dapat yung flow lines natin ay 6. So, nasan yung 6 na yun? So, ito na yun mismo yung apat. And then, ito yung panglima, yung mismong surface ng ating sheet file. And then, kabilang din itong bottom na layer natin. Basically, so, yan na. Yan na yung 6 na flow lines natin. Pagdating naman kay number of pressure drops, so number of pressure drops or ND, so ito naman yung areas bounded by two equipotential lines. So dito, ang ating number of drops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 ang ating drops dito. So kung nahirapan kayo bilangin, no? So actually, eto mismong ground natin is counted as equipotential line. So, yung dalawang ito ay counted as equipotential lines. So, kung bibilangin natin yung equipotential lines, so dapat 11 kasi plus 1, di ba? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Minus 1. So, kaya naging 10 yung ating number of pressure drops. So, yung nasusundan, no? Actually, yung pinaka-challenging part na dito, talaga magbilang ng NF tapos ND. Basically, yun, nasalpak na lang sa formula. And then NF and divided by ND, so tinatawag din natin siyang shape factor. And then ito naman para kay anisotropic. Pag sinabi natin isotropic, so basically hindi kasi parehas yung properties ng soil natin in all direction. So dito merong, say, dito is in X direction, at is in Z direction. So, iba yung value niya ng K dito. So kaya meron siyang Kx. In Z direction, vertical direction. So meron siyang value ng Kc. Basically, dalawa yung value niya kasi anisotropic nga. So, ni-refer lang natin yan. So, pinalitan lang natin yung K doon ng square root ng Kx over Kc. So, pwede naman natin makita actually yung derivation nito, no? Kaso medyo mahaba siya. Di ba sabi natin si Flows kasi is application ng nabanggit dito that satisfies Laplace equation. So, medyo pass naman si mga derivative. Basically, yung ginagawa kasi, so, curvilinear square yan, no? So, in actual, elongated square siya. So, parang rectangle. I-convert natin into square. Para ma-convert, actually, marami pang process ang pagdadaanan. Pero, ito yung end result na, no? So, pag na-convert na natin, so, basically, yung k dito, so, para siyang k prime equal tayo square root ng kx, kz. Pero, pares pa rin naman ibig sabihin, no? Basta dito, meron lang dalawang values ng k for horizontal and vertical direction. So, that's it for the concepts. So, just to make sure, no? So, yan ko muna itong recorded video and then start tayo ng panibago.